New, simple, and reliable rotating super smelter for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is an incredibly easy and cheap build to put together. It only uses 4 hoppers for the entire system compared to the standard super smelter designs which use 2 hoppers per furnace. This is the clear choice if you're on a budget or if you want a simple, reliable, and lag efficient super smelter. And call now, you can upgrade the 27 array to a 54 furnace array for no added redstone cost. This system also has 2 major features that most other smelters do not. It is an equal item distribution system, so every furnace gets the same amount of items, and more importantly, it is 100% fuel efficient. So every piece of fuel that you put into the system will smelt the maximum number of items that it possibly can. Not to mention that this works for 3 major fuel sources. It works for blaze rods, coal, and bamboo slabs, since those are easy to craft in mass and get a lot of for easy fuel. And let's take a closer look at this build. As you can see, it's pretty wide on the front here. However, it's only 2 blocks wide on the back, which I put a lot of time into. So up here, we have the item input chest. You put everything in here that you want to smelt. Your fuel goes into the back. And then, of course, you get items out the front here and out the bottom as well. Now, there's only one lever on this thing that you actually need to care about, and that's this one right here to turn on the build. And we can see in action, this first furnace right here is going to get filled up with our 6 items, and then our 4 bamboo slabs, one of which has already smelted, and this is for the bamboo setting. So by the time your furnaces get pushed over to here, they're already going to have smelted 1 item, which goes into the furnace, and then of course by the time they get all the way back down to the bottom, they will have smelted the other 4 items, which goes into your storage. This is also a highly optimized system. As you see, the furnaces get all the way around, and by the time they get to right here, they're basically done smelting their final item. Then they get pushed back to the beginning and refueled and ready to go. The 27 array system also has a safety switch in place so that if you run out of smeltable items, it is going to automatically stop putting fuel into the system. That way your fuel stockpile remains up here. And this is what the redstone on the back looks like. It might seem overwhelming at first, but I assure you it is really easy to build, because remember, it's a single block wide. And the 54 furnace array is basically identical. We're just adding another line of furnaces to it, meaning that this build is only 4 blocks wide, and the redstone in the circuitry is all the same. Right now, this is configured for blaze rods, so each one of the furnaces is going to get 1 blaze rod and 12 items. Now, on the 54 array, there's no room for a smart detection system, so if it runs out of smeltable items, it's just going to keep on rotating and putting some fuel into your furnaces, which isn't ideal, but it doesn't actually affect your efficiency. Now let's talk about fuel source real quick, because that's really important when you're running a super smelter for a long time. This system does technically work with any fuel source. However, you're going to lose efficiency if you use things like lava, coal blocks, or kelp blocks simply because they burn for so long. I've gone out of my way to configure the system for the next 3 best fuel sources, which is blaze rods, coal, and the bamboo slabs. Overall, I would recommend the bamboo slabs though, since it is super easy to farm, and each one of those slabs smelts 1.5 items, and you can just set up an auto crafter to make it for you, so you don't even need to do anything besides run your bamboo farm. If you like these kinds of Bedrock tutorials and you want to see more of them, then consider subscribing. I have a lot more stuff on the way, but let's hop into this tutorial. So the materials you'll need for the 27 furnace array is everything in this chest right here. As you can see, it is really cheap. So the area that you'll need is going to be 17 blocks wide. It's going to be 6 blocks tall, plus you need to make sure there's room above this thing for the chest to open up, so make sure you get a little bit of ceiling room. It's going to be 1 to 2 blocks below the ground, and if you're building the 27 furnace array, it's only going to be 2 blocks wide. If you're building the 54 furnace array, then it's going to be 4 blocks wide. Now, to build the 54 array, you first need to build the 27. That is the base module that you will be upgrading from. So we're going to start building on the right side over here, and we're going to start by placing in 2 solid blocks right here, a redstone torch right here, redstone dust, and then a piston facing forwards like this one. We're now going to need 3 repeaters running into that block, a block right here, slab to the side of it, redstone dust on both of those. Then you want a solid block above that redstone torch and 3 upper slabs going across like so. Turn around, and these repeaters need to be going in the opposite direction. We're going to put in a solid block right here, and that should start clocking the system, as you can see. Now we need in a temporary block and a redstone lamp right here. Put a lever on that, and then on the back side of this is going to be a redstone torch. And now whenever you flick this lever on, that should turn on your clock, as you can see there. Now we're going to put an observer facing downwards above that redstone dust, a couple of blocks above it like so in this little angle, and then a redstone dust right there. We need a piston facing downwards right there like so. And now grab yourself some furnaces. We need to place in our first furnace right here and then go over by 11 blocks. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. On this 12th block right here, we're going to put in ourselves a piston facing upwards. And now we need in ourselves a lever right here with a repeater facing towards it right there and a redstone dust. Make sure this right here is a solid block so that if you put a block right there, it should get pushed up like so. Now we're going to place in the rest of our furnaces. So we need in 2 furnaces right here, and then we're going to skip the corners and place in the rest of our furnaces going all the way across until we get to the block directly underneath this piston, and then 2 more furnaces right there. So we should have a furnace in that corner, no furnace in this corner, this one, or this one, and that should be 27 in total. And now we're going to do the redstone for the left side over here, so go ahead and place in yourself 2 slabs right here. We need a lever, flick that on, a piece of redstone dust, then we need a slab on this side, a block right here, a block up, and then a piston right here like so for this general shape. So place in yourself a repeater right here that should get powered, redstone torch on the back side of it, and then a repeater up here on 2 ticks. Now go ahead and place in a hopper above your first furnace, and then behind it, we're going to place in a double chest right there for our fuel, and then a double chest above it for our item input. So now that we have all that stuff installed, we can actually go ahead and flick our lever, and we should see that all the furnaces rotate and around in a nice little circle like this, and everything should be pretty fine. And now for the item collection, we're going to go a couple blocks over from our main input switch, and we're going to put in a double chest right here. This is going to be our first item output. It's technically optional, but this gives you items really quickly. And then our main item output is going to be down here. So just go ahead and break out these 3 blocks. We're going to put in a double chest right there, go behind this thing, and then place in a hopper on the back side of it. And this is where the majority of your items will end up. And now for the item distribution and timing circuit at the top of this thing. So go around to the back of the system. We need a block above that main redstone torch right there, block above it, redstone torch, and then you need 5 slabs going over just like this. Now you'll also need a solid block here and here, redstone dust on that block, and then a block above it for this general shape. Now you're also going to need 3 4-tick repeaters right in these areas, no matter what kind of fuel source or timings that you're using. You'll also need another repeater right here, and possibly even one right here, or just a redstone dust, but we'll get to all the timings in a minute. Now if you're just building the 27 furnace array, I would highly recommend that you add in the smart detection system. So add in a comparator right here with a block in front of it and a block down, redstone dust on that block, and then we're going to switch around to the back side, remove that block right there, and put in a sticky piston facing downwards. You can put in your repeater, make sure that's back on 4 ticks. You need a redstone block on the underside of that sticky piston, and then an upper slab right here with a repeater on 1 tick going into that block. So basically, whenever this chest is empty and it doesn't have anything in it, then that is going to lock your hoppers and stop fuel and stuff from going into your system while it's still rotating. So if you put an item in there, you should see that piston go down. You should also put a redstone lamp right here, so when this lamp is turned off, you are out of items. And there's one last bit of redstone to do, and that is on this side right here. So if you're going to be using coal or blaze rods for your system, put in yourself a redstone torch right there, slab, and then a repeater locking that hopper. That way each furnace only gets 1 piece of fuel. Now, if you're going to be using bamboo and you don't care about how much fuel goes into your furnaces, because it doesn't really matter, then you can simply remove all of this. However, if you do care about how much fuel goes into your furnaces, then you're going to want to place in yourself a couple of temporary blocks right here, upper slab below those 2, and then just surround them on the other 3 sides with solid blocks for this general shape right here. So on this back side, we need a piece of redstone dust. That'll get powered by your torch right there. And then we need a repeater right here on 4 ticks, right here on 4 ticks, and right here on 4 ticks as well. And this timing will make sure that every furnace gets 4 pieces of bamboo. That way it can smelt 6 items. So now we need to adjust the timings for these 3 bars of repeaters right here. Now, depending on what fuel you're using, they're all going to have different timings. So I would recommend that you either just pick one and stick with it, or you put down a sign telling you which one is which. So we're going to start off with a sign right here. That's just going to be bamboo, 1, 2, 2, coal, all 2, rods, 3, 4, 4. Now, what that means is that basically this repeater would be on 1, that would be on 2, and that would be on 2 if you wanted to use bamboo. If you wanted to use coal, then all of these would be on 2 ticks. And if you wanted to use blaze rods, then this one would be on 3, and the other ones would be on 4. Hopefully that makes sense. As for the second sign, that's going to be on the bottom. This one's much easier. Bamboo is all 2, coal is all 3, and rods is all 4. That is the simplest one of it. So for bamboo, all of those go on 2. For coal, all of them go on 3. And for blaze rods, all of them go on 4. And finally, we're going to put a sign at the top up here. This is going to be bamboo, 1, 4, 4, 4. Coal is just 4, 4, 4, 4. And rods is 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. So what that means is that this right here is the timings for bamboo. As you see, it's 1, 4, 4, 4. For coal, this one simply goes onto 4 ticks. And then for blaze rods, this one gets replaced with a repeater on 3 ticks. So as you can see, it's fairly simple, but you just want to pick a timing and stick with it. Otherwise, you're going to be coming back here all the time fiddling with it. So if you have like a wither skeleton farm, just stock up on blaze rods and keep this thing full, or stock it up with coal and keep it full. But again, I would suggest just using bamboo planks since those are the cheapest and best fuel source as of right now. And if you're going to be using things like lava, coal, or kelp blocks, then it doesn't really matter what the timings are. I would probably go for the blaze rod timings, however, though. And finalizing the build, I would recommend that you put in a block right here, a lever on this block, and then just a little sign. So if you want to empty out all of your furnaces of the items that they've smelted without putting anything new into the system, simply flick that lever and then turn on the system. And I'd also recommend putting a sign on this one as well, saying that if this light turns off, then you're out of things to smelt, basically. Now, there is one little flaw with the system. If you turn on the build while the furnace is in this top right corner instead of down here, then your first furnace will get items but no fuel. So to fix that, you just want to press this button if the furnace is up there before you turn on the build. Now, there is a circuitry solution, but I'm so sad because it's no longer too wide. Anyway, so if you absolutely cannot handle having to press a button, then simply get rid of that button, get rid of the observer, and all this stuff right here. We're going to put a repeater on top of this block right here, and then just a slab with a lever behind it. Again, it's 3 wide. It's killing me. Anyway, that's going to power your furnace, which will then power a little bit of redstone dust that will go right there. And this is simply going to walk up some stairs to the backside like that. And it's so hideous. And if you're going to do this with the 54 furnace array, then you'll need another piston facing downwards, another redstone, and 1 block right there. I'm seriously just so sad. Now, when you first put fuel into the system for the first time, make sure that you put at least 1 fuel item into this hopper right here. That way the system is primed and ready to go. And anytime that you run out of fuel, you'll also need to put 1 into that hopper as well. But other than that, your system is now good to go. You can load it up with fuel and smeltable items, turn it on, and you shouldn't see anything get put into this furnace right here. But you should get your 8 items or whatever and your pieces of fuel in there. So if all you wanted was the 27 array system, then thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Drop a like, share it around, and subscribe. But otherwise, I'll be showing you how to upgrade this system to 54 furnaces. So to upgrade this system to a 54 array build, all you're going to need is these materials in here. And we're actually going to be taking out some materials from this build as well. So unfortunately, there's no good way to fit in a smart system as of right now. So we're going to remove the lever, the comparator, the block, the sign, and these couple things right here. You can also remove your sticky piston that is right there, replace your repeater, get rid of a redstone block, and those 2 things. And basically all we need to do is install a couple more pistons on this thing. So we're simply going to go up to this one. We're going to move our button forward, place down a piston right there, get in yourselves a slab, solid block, and then 1 more piece of redstone dust right there. Your button is going to go back onto this block right here. For the bottom right corner, we're going to place in a piston right here, a piece of redstone dust, and then a block right here. On the bottom left side, we're simply going to double this system right here. So we need a piston facing upwards. We're going to get in a repeater right there, redstone dust on this block, and then we're actually going to move that lever to a solid block. That way it powers both of those. For the upper left corner, it's pretty similar. So we just need a piston facing forwards right there. We're going to get a slab right there and there, piece of redstone dust, and then a repeater on 2 ticks to power in that piston. And that's the basics of this thing done. So now we're going to go ahead and just fill in all of our furnaces. So go ahead and do a full line across the bottom here. We're going to skip over that one right now for the chest, and then another line of furnaces at the top there. So we're going to move this output chest a block forwards and get a hopper right there. That way there's one underneath both lines. And then we're going to break out our bottom chest right here and remove that hopper. We're going to place in our chest sideways down there, and then 2 hoppers facing downwards into it just like so. You can fill in that block and then remove these 2 in order to access that chest down there. And then, of course, fill in your furnaces. For item distribution, you're going to put a hopper going through the front of the furnace, and then the top of it, a double chest up there for items that you want to smelt, and another double chest right there for your fuel. And then we need in a couple more solid blocks. A solid block there, and then just 3 pieces of redstone dust going across like so. Now, if you want your optional lever in there to flush the system, that lever is actually going to be going right there, and then your sign telling you what the lever does would go next to it. And depending on what types of fuel you're using, the system that we put right here for locking the hopper is going to be different. So if you're using coal or blaze rods, then it's just going to be a redstone torch on the side of the piston, slab there, and a repeater going into that. And again, this would work for lava, coal, or kelp blocks too. And then if you want to use this 54 rate with the bamboo slabs, and you don't want to fill up all your furnaces with the slabs, then you would go ahead and place in yourself a couple of temporary blocks right here, some upper slabs below those blocks, and then of course surround these blocks on all sides with more solid blocks. Break out those 2 in the middle, and you should have this general shape right here. And then we need 3 repeaters in here. Each one of these is going to be on 4 ticks, of course. And then we're going to place in a couple pieces of redstone up on the back over here so that it's like this. And now that it's fully built up, everything should be running smoothly. So I have it on bamboo right now. So each one of these is going to get 6 smeltables and 3 additional pieces of fuel in there. And then by the time it loops all the way around, it'll be done smelting basically everything. So if you enjoyed this Bedrock tutorial, then of course drop a like, share it around, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.